So today we're going to cover how to check patients in for their appointments. In this video, we're going to go over checking in new patients, existing patients for their continuing care appointments, and existing patients for their treatment appointments. So I'm on our appointment book view, and I have our lovely 3 patients on here that we are going to use as examples today. So the first patient we're going to start with is Joanne Dirt. We're going to check her in like she just arrived to her appointment. The first thing that you'll do when a patient walks in the door and comes up to you is, of course, you're going to ask for their name, and once you've verified where the patient has been scheduled on the appointment book view, you're going to open their appointment. At this time, you'll verify what they're scheduled for. So what that would sound like is, okay, Joanne, I see that we have you scheduled for a new patient cleaning with us today. Is that correct? And she says, yes, that's correct. Okay, great. So you verified that you have the correct patient and they're scheduled correctly as well. So now we're going to come down in the appointment to the status. The status is currently marked firm. That's because we confirmed the appointment with Joanne yesterday. Now that she's here, we're going to change the status to here. So if we come over here and hit the drop down arrow, we can come down and select here. Once we do that and select OK on the appointment, that's going to update the status bar on the appointment to green so that the hygienist or assistant in the back knows that their patient is here and most likely filling out paperwork. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we would give Joanne her new patient paperwork. So we have the new patient packet. That's where she's going to fill out all of her information. She's going to write her name, her address, family information, insurance information, as well as her medical information. So if she's been diagnosed with certain conditions, she'll put that information on the paperwork. If she's been prescribed any prescriptions, she'll put that on there. Because those things are really important for us to know because it'll have an impact on what procedures we do and what prescriptions we prescribe. Now, the next thing that we would do is set up Joanne for an account on Patient Rewards Hub. Now, in another video, we'll go over how to set patients up for an account on the Patient Rewards Hub, but let's say we've already gone through and we've set her account up. Patient Rewards is a really great system that we use in our office to incentivize patients to come in. Not a lot of people like going into the dentist, so having something as an incentive is always what we're looking for. So if patients bring their card to their appointment, if they're on time to their appointment, they get points assigned to this card that they can later redeem for gift cards to like a huge variety of different places. There's Best Buy, there's McDonald's, they have home improvement stores, they have auto part stores. Basically anything you can think of, you can get a gift card for. They also get points for having their cleaning done and having their exam done, or if they've had great hygiene. So it's also encouraging patients to take care of their teeth at home and actually floss every day and brush every day. So it's a really great program that you want to be knowledgeable about so that you can explain it to the patients and get them excited about it. Now, after you've set them up for a Patient Rewards account, you're going to create a routing form for their appointment. This is going to allow you to go through each step that needs to be done for checking this patient in. So, on the appointment book view, I have Joanne's appointment highlighted. Now, after you've highlighted the appointment, you're going to come up to the quick letters icon. Now remember, if you hover your mouse over any of these icons, it will tell you what it is. So the main thing you want to remember when getting a routing form is that it's under quick letters. So I'm going to select quick letters, and the first thing I'm going to do is type RO. That's going to take me directly to the routing forms. This is the quickest way to do that. Now, the first routing form that is highlighted is the one that we are going to be using because Joanne is scheduled for a hygiene appointment today. But if we scroll down, you can see there's many other routing forms for different appointment types. So we are going to hit Build View. That's going to put this routing form into a Word document that we have the ability to make changes to and edit. All right, as you can see, it's already auto-populated today's date, the time that we checked in, and Joanne's name. So you're going to come through and you're going to enter in the receptionist name, and you're going to initial each line that you've completed on this top section. So let's put our name in. And now we want to verify that we greeted and checked the patient in, which we did, so we'll initial. Did we get them their new patient paperwork? Yes, we did. And insurance verified. So we did not look at that. When checking a patient in, you always want to verify that they have that green E in their appointment. If they do not have the green E and they go back and are seen, we most likely will not be paid for the services that we provided to that patient, or we'll have to have the patient pay. That upsets a lot of patients when they aren't informed about the amount due ahead of time. So always remember to check that green E in the appointment, which is super nice because on your routing form, it's just a nice little reminder for you. So we've now verified that she has the green E. Family file provider and clinic verified. So now we need to go into Joanne's family file and verify that the provider in her family file and the clinic are correct. So what that means is the family file provider needs to be Dr. Hamblin because that's who she's seeing today. As you can see on the blocks, it says Dr. Hamblin. She is scheduled in CDP and she's scheduled in South Salt Lake. If you ever are confused about what schedule you are on, if you look up above here, it shows CDP SSL. So we're going to go to her family file and ensure that it's correct. So the clinic does say CDP SSL, but the provider says Dr. Cannon. So we're going to come in here and change this to Dr. Hamblin's ID. And I've selected OK. Now that you can see, it has updated that provider ID to the correct one. We also want to come into the appointment and change her provider ID from new patient to the hygienist ID for Dr. Hamblin. We always schedule new patients with the new patient provider ID so that when we look at our schedule, we can identify which patients are new patients. As you can see, Joanne sticks out because hers is green. I can tell that Joey and Harry Potter are continuing care or existing patients with us because their appointments are not green. But when the new patient arrives to their appointment, we do want to change this provider ID to be the correct one because the biller will need to have that changed to the accurate one for billing purposes. So we're going to hit the double arrows and we're going to scroll down until we come to the hygienist. So now, once you hit the hygienist, you're going to look for the one matching the provider. So I found the one that says Ham for Dr. Hamblin. So I'm going to select OK and hit OK on the appointment. So now we can come back to our routing form and we can initial that we verified the family file provider and clinic. Now it says to verify the amount due for today's appointment. If Joanne had an amount due, it would be in the appointment description. So let's go back and take a look at her appointment description. I'm going to double click on the appointment. And as you can see in Joanne's description, there is not an amount due. So that means she does not owe anything for today. So we're going to come back to our routing form and initial that line. We're going to add a 0 right here. Now on the next line, amount due for past balance. Because Joanne is a new patient, she does not have a past balance. So we're going to initial, put $0, and the total paid today was 0. We have given her her new patient paperwork. And we haven't given her her rewards card yet, but we have set her up on the program. So we're not going to initial this until we've actually given her that card. Now, we referred her to the reception area. And we have not marked her status ready yet. After she is done filling out her paperwork and brings it up front, we will give her her rewards card and then we'll refer her back to the lobby. And then once we've entered in all of her patient information, we will be able to mark her ready. So I'm not going to initial these until I've printed it out, and then we'll just write in our initials. So now we'll go to File, Print, and we would print it. I'm going to now close. Anytime you close out of a routing form, hit Don't Save. All right. Now that we've created the routing form, let's collect her paperwork. After you collect the paperwork, especially for a new patient, you're going to come in and enter in any information that we don't already have. It does look like we collected Joanne's address ahead of time, but most of the time when scheduling new patients, we don't have their address until they come into the appointment. So you'll want to cross-check it with that paperwork. And then you're also going to look for any medical concerns, so any prescriptions they've listed, any diagnoses that they've had. You're going to list those on a patient alert. So now that we've entered in all of Joanne's information, the next thing that you're going to do is take the Guarantor Packet and you're going to place that into the scanning bin. The Guarantor Packet is the packet that the patient fills out the first time they come in to go over all of our financial policies. Then once you've placed that packet into the scanning, you're going to place the new patient packet with the routing form to be picked up by the hygienist. After you've done that, you can then come back to the appointment and mark the status as ready. Once we hit OK, it'll update that status bar on the appointment and her hygienist knows to come grab her. Once the hygienist comes up front, she'll grab that new patient packet with the routing form and bring Joanne back. So now you know how to successfully check in a new patient. Now let's cover how to check in an existing continuing care appointment. So our next patient is going to be Joey Dirt. Once Joey arrives to his appointment, we are going to do the same thing we did with Joanne and verify his appointment and then mark his status as here. So I'm going to come to the status and change it to here again. I always hit OK right after changing the status so that status bar is updated in the back. Now, the next thing we're going to do is inform Joey of his past due balance. Because there is $55 in the description, that means Joey has a past due balance that he needs to pay. So we're going to inform him of the past due balance and collect that. Once you've collected the amount due, you can ask for Joey's patient rewards card. This is when you'll collect his rewards card and assign him points for arriving on time to his appointment, bringing his card to his appointment, and any others. Patients can get rewards points for things like having good grades or liking us on Facebook, things like that. So always remember to ask the patient for their card and go over any of the incentives that we have for them so that they are taking advantage of those points. So now we can give him his health history update. It's just one form that allows him to update any of his information with us. So if his address has changed, phone number, or if any medical conditions or prescriptions have recently been prescribed, he can put that on there. Once we give him that health history form, we're going to refer him to the lobby. During the time that he is in the lobby filling out his forms, you're going to utilize that time to create the routing form. So let's hit OK on the appointment and create Joey's routing form. Again, I have Joey's appointment highlighted on the appointment book view, and I'm going to go up to quick letters. And we're going to use the same routing form that we used for Joanne. So I'm going to type RO, and it has the correct one selected again. So we're going to just hit Build View. Now you can see it's changed to Joey, and we have the date and the correct time. So let's come in and put our name, and we'll go through this a little quicker this time. So we did greet the patient, we did give them their paperwork, We didn't verify their insurance yet, so let's go back and look. So on Joey's appointment, he has a red E. At this time, you are the one accountable for ensuring his insurance is verified. Because Joey is under Medicaid, we can tell because the description has an M, you will just verify his insurance on the internet right then and there. So let's say that you verified his eligibility and he is eligible to be seen. We're going to come to the family file and we're going to update his insurance information. So let's change it to today's date, unselect not eligible, and put in the proper dates. As you can see, the E has already turned to green. So we're going to select OK. I'm going to come back to the appointment and hit OK. Now that has updated the E in the appointment to green. That is why the routing form is so important. It acts as a reminder for you so that if there's anything you ever forget, once you go through the routing form, it'll be right there as a reminder. So now we verified Joey's insurance. So I'm going to mark that. Now, we didn't check his family file provider and clinic. So let's go back to the appointment book view. And I'm going to right click on his appointment and come down to family file. Now that we've opened his family file, we're going to check the clinic, and it is the correct one, CDP SSL, and then we're going to check the provider, SSD Hamro, which is Hamblin's ID. So this is correct. Now we can come back to the routing form, and we can mark that the family file provider and clinic has been verified. The amount due for today's appointment was $0. So we're going to initial and put 0. The reason I know that is because the only amount due in the patient's appointment was for their past due balance. That means that their services that they're having done today were $0 copay. So now that we know that, we're going to come to the amount due for past balance, and we're going to put the $55 here. And total paid was $55. We did give Joey his paperwork, and we collected his rewards card. So if it's a continuing care patient who already has a rewards card, you just want to ensure that you've asked them for it and you've assigned them any points that you can assign them at that time. And we did refer him to the reception area, and we didn't mark him ready yet. So again, we're going to come to File and Print, and then once we've collected his paperwork and cross-checked it, we're going to mark him ready. So let's go to File, Print, and then you would print again. Again, remember to not save any of these. Now, after we've created the routing form, we're going to collect his paperwork. So once Joey's done, he'll bring his health history form up to us, and at that time, you can refer him back to the lobby. You'll cross-check his paperwork that he's filled out with all of our information. Make sure to check the address, phone number, and any medical conditions that we don't already have on file. Once you've done that, you'll attach that health history form with the routing form again, and you'll place it to be picked up by the hygienist or the assistant. After you've done that, we can come back to the appointment and mark the status as ready. Now that hygienist or assistant knows that their patient is ready to be taken back. So now we have successfully checked in a continuing care existing patient appointment. Great job. So the next thing that we're going to cover is checking in a patient who is scheduled for treatment with us. Any patient that is scheduled with treatment with us is going to be an existing patient. So this process is going to be really similar to the way that we did it with Joey. So let's get started. Let's say Harry just arrived to his appointment. Again, you're going to verify his name and the appointment. So you verified that Harry's appointment is this one. We're going to open up the appointment, and the first thing that you always want to do with a treatment appointment is verify the treatment they are scheduled for. What that will sound like is, okay, Harry, I see that we have you scheduled for 3 fillings today. Is that correct? And then they'll say yes or no, and then you can handle that. But let's say Harry said yes. Now this gives you like the perfect median to go into the amount due. So how that sounds is, okay, great. I see that you have $43.20 due for today's appointment. Would you like to pay that with cash or card? So then it's like already connecting, okay, this is my treatment I'm getting today, and this is how much my copay is for it. And then you collect that amount due. Now let's come back to the status and mark him here. We've already collected his amount due and verified the treatment. At this time, we would ask him for his patient rewards card. This is when you're going to assign him points for bringing his card to his appointment, if he arrived on time, things like that. So now we're going to refer him to the lobby. At this time, we're going to create that routing form again. So the same as with Joanne and Joey, we have Harry's appointment highlighted, and we're going to come up to quick letters. Again, we're going to type RO, but we're not going to use the routing form for hygiene. We're going to use the routing form for treatment. So we're going to scroll down until we see the TX. So I found the routing form TX. Now I'm going to hit Build View. This has auto-populated Harry's name, the date, and the time that we checked him in. Again, we're going to go through this process the same way that we did with Joey and Joanne. But some of the steps are going to be a little bit different because he is treatment. So the first one is greeting patients, checking them in, and marking their status here. We've done that. We did confirm the treatment, and we haven't verified the family file in clinic. So let's go back and open Harry's family file. And CDP SSL is the clinic, which is correct, but the provider is not the accurate provider. So we're going to double click, and we're going to come down to the provider and enter in the accurate provider ID. I'm going to type Ham and last name and hit the double arrows, and Dr. Hamlin's ID is there. So I'm going to select OK and hit OK. And as you can see, that has updated the provider ID. Now we're going to come back to the routing form, and we can now initial that line. Treatment plan and financial agreement is in place and signed. Because we had the amount due in the appointment description, the treatment plan has been signed for that patient, and they paid for their amount due today. So for the next line, we're going to initial, and we're going to put the amount due. Usually you can scroll your routing form over on the screen to be able to see the amount due, but I put our friendly little family file in the way. So I'm going to come back to Harry's appointment and check the amount due, $43.20. So let's go back and expand this. Now, for the amount due for past balance, there wasn't anything entered into Harry's description. So we're going to initial that, and we're going to put 0 for the past due balance. And the total paid today was $43.20. We did give him his patient rewards card, and we assigned him points. And we did refer him to the reception area. And because he isn't filling out any paperwork, we can come back to his appointment and mark his status as ready. So we're going to change that to ready, and it has updated that status bar. We are going to initial this line, and we just print this out and put it where it goes to be picked up by that assistant. So now you've successfully checked in a new patient, an existing continuing care patient, and a patient scheduled for treatment. These are all really important steps that you want to make sure that you are well versed in. So if you need to go back in this video and jot down any notes or watch it over again, feel free to do that because each step is super important to remember. So thanks for watching today.